Savvy Central Radio, drawing out the best from our guests, with host Christina Nichman.
A new mix to business networking and interviews. Join Savvy Central Radio for our third live interview/networking event, the focus being marketing in the 21st century. Our guest this June 17th will be Malco Ebers of NYBC. Get your tickets today at bit.ly.com/savvyradio. Hello everyone, and welcome to Savvy Central Radio. This is your host, Christina Nichman. Each week on Savvy, we host successful individuals and business owners, inviting them to share their dreams, stories, wisdom, and lessons learned in their field of business. Josey Milner is part of a small-town teen, part roadworthy country starlet, and started at only 17 years old. She turned heads and changed hearts with her debut U.S. single, Not Pretty Enough. The song thrust Josey into the country music spotlight, launching her anti-bully campaign with Angels and Doves, earning her the 2013 Independent Country Music Award nomination for Promising Young Artist, and a #1 single on the world's first independent country music chart, Indie's World. To find out more about Josey and her music, visit her website at Josey Milner, Milner, music.com. Hi, Josey. Welcome to Savvy Central Radio. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome today, and I'm glad you could join us. Girl, you have an extraordinary background and journey. Share with our audience a little bit about your background. What drew you to a career in country music?
Definitely. Well, before I ever got into music, I actually did rodeo, and rodeo is kind of something that I was with for about 7 years. And throughout rodeoing, I was actually always kind of volunteered to sing the national anthem at the rodeos. And growing up, singing has kind of been something I've always loved doing. And every time we went horseback riding or trail riding or anything, people were always throwing me the front so I could be like their own little personal radio because I was always singing. And for my birthdays and whatnot, I was always asking for CDs or T-shirts of different artists that I really liked at that time. So music's just kind of been something that I've always really, really enjoyed. And like I said, when I got into rodeo, people would always ask me to sing the national anthem. So one thing kind of led to another, and I was actually invited to sing at the National Steel Guitar Convention in 2010. So going on 5 years ago, which is crazy. I was invited to sing on the main stage there, and it was a whole new deal for me. I'd never really been asked to perform before in front of an audience like that. And, I got up there, and I loved the feeling. I loved being up on stage and, being in front of people and providing the entertainment for them. And it was something I never really wanted to give up because it was so fun. And whenever I got off, I had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, we really enjoyed that. So for people to kind of say that was something we had to pay attention to, especially for being kind of my first time. So we just kind of started asking questions. We're like, hey, well, should we do this or let's jump into it? And we did. And, things just kind of took off from there. And so here we are today with crazy experiences I'm able to have and everything else. So
Yeah. I love that you're saying that because this recalls how many people I've heard who have grown up with a certain talent, whether it's drawing or singing or playing an instrument, that they disregard and say, well, anyone could do that. No biggie. But, we have God's given talents, and not everyone can do what you do. We're all blessed with unique talents, and it's awesome that you actually took it and said, okay, what can we do with this? Should I take this forward? Should we not? It's good that you pursued it and took it into the world.
Yeah, and it makes me super excited because every time I release for a new song and people are like, yeah, we really enjoyed this, and they get happy because of it, it just kind of lets me know that, hey, apparently what I'm doing is a good thing because people really enjoy it. So not only do I get to do something I love, I get to do something that make other people happy as well. So
what is, at the moment, as you're going through school right now, because you're in college, you're getting straight A's, wow, girl, you're amazing, and doing a music career, what propels you forward? What is like your big pull that propels you forward in life to do all of this?
I honestly have a lot of motivation from family supporting me and from friends supporting me and then from people like fans in general supporting me in my music and just always being there and wanting to listen to my music and support me at my shows. And, like I said, just to have all this literally support that I've had is what makes me want to keep doing what I'm doing and to know that people are really enjoying it and I'm getting noticed for it, with these award nominations I'm getting or my #1 singles and or just things like that. Just to, whenever you get stuff like that, it's something you got to pay attention to. And of course, when you get something kind of helps you boost your I don't want to say ego because that just sounds kind of rude, but it helps you out and it makes you more passionate about what you do. So.
It does help when you get recognition for your talent and people, because I recall back in high school, there was a teacher who was really mean in writing class, and I'm not a writer by any shape or form, but there was one woman who loved writing, and she wrote a beautiful piece, but she didn't follow all the rules, so the woman gave her a straight up F, and just crushed her spirit.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, well, that's pretty funny, and you could take it away from them. So, I could totally see how when you are given a little recognition, it can help you go a long way.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, it's just kind of a little extra push you get just because, people are recognizing what you're doing and they do think it's great. So yeah. It definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard also that you're a huge supporter and spokesperson for Angels and Doves, a nationwide anti-bully program. How did you come to working with them, and what attracted you to supporting the cause?
Yeah, whenever I released my single, Not Pretty Enough, that song itself kind of stands for bullying. Mm-hmm. And it was just a really good song, and it represented a whole lot. And whenever Angels and Doves came across it, they really thought the meaning of it was great. And, and I really like they are doing it with the whole anti-bullying, and they go around, they talk to schools about bullying, what you can do and how to handle the situation, who to get involved and stuff like that. And whenever we paired up with them, it was just like a perfect match kind of thing. So.
Wow. I mean, what do you think? Does it seem like a really huge problem in this nation? It appears to be.
I think it's a pretty big problem now. Of course, I think it's a lot more severe now because of the social media, and it's so much easier to do things. And, and bullying is such a horrible event as is because, you're picking on someone and just because of how they look or what they're interested in or anything like that. And it's sad, but, with Angels and Doves, they're trying to step in and make a difference with it. I'm definitely really humbled to be a part of them and try to step in and make a difference too.
What do you think really brings bullying about? What do you think is the real cause of bullying?
I thought the bully itself, they can either have problems at home or they can have self-esteem issues themselves or even been a victim themselves. And definitely several different factors that play a role into it. There's not just one thing that makes someone want to bully another.
Yeah. Yeah. And I often think that sometimes, we get pretty hard on the bullies themselves, but I often think that sometimes they're from a family of circumstances where they themselves could very well be bullied.
Yeah. And, bullying, it doesn't just happen in schools. It happens pretty much anywhere. And, it can happen in the workplace or it can happen, on the bus or even over the phone talking to people. Mm-hmm. And I was actually talking to a girl the other day and she was kind of telling me about when she was younger. And apparently she had these friends that would kind of bully her and she didn't really notice it until she looked back and she was like, wow, they are being kind of rude about it. And so, sometimes you don't even notice it, but still it definitely happens quite a bit.
Yeah. And I think it's a huger problem for the entire nation because we might see something going on in school, around our workplace or in the environment and think, that's not a big deal. They're not bullying me. I don't need to get involved. But like Columbine and other school shootings and other places where people started shooting out at people, there were signs ahead of time. I'd heard from teachers and such for some of those cases that there were disturbing trends with that person, that you could tell they were upset. The problem wasn't being dealt with until it got out of hand. So sometimes anyone around you who you see being bullied, it could be a problem that needs to be faced with the person being bullied and also with the bullier so that it doesn't get out of hand and cause some catastrophe.
Exactly. Yeah. And, and I like to say that communication is kind of the key to everything with bullying. Mm-hmm. And, being the victim or being the bully yourself, if you have something going on, tell someone about it, because if you don't, then they're not going to be able to help you. Yeah. And, if you're the victim, definitely just tell someone so someone can step up and help handle the situation. So communication is kind of the key to all of that.
Yes, absolutely. And when you said your friend didn't notice until she looked back that there was a problem, I think some people become comfortable with not being treated right. I mean, maybe they're not realizing that this particular behavior is not acceptable. So I think it's great that you're going out there and supporting this and talking about it so people can look back and say, okay, that's happening in my life right now. I'm being treated badly at school by this person. So they can notice that, hey, that's not the proper way I should be treated.
Exactly, yeah. And, and it's back to the whole friends thing, to think that your friends would, try to bully you or try to make fun of you for something that you like. That's just, how can you consider that a friend? And that's just beyond considerable.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even do something like that. So
yeah, absolutely. What has been some of the major hurdles you've had to overcome along your journey to becoming a country music recording artist?
There actually hasn't been quite as many as I expected. Kind of the first one right out the door was my age, because I started so young and people really didn't want to take a chance on me, and they thought I wouldn't really be able to do as well because I was so young. But once we got them people to take a chance on me, they're like, yeah, we really like you. So once I got over that one, it was a lot easier. And I think anymore it's just kind of keeping things going. And if you don't keep things going in the music industry, you're easily forgotten. So you just kind of got to keep things rolling so people can still, see your name throughout things and hear your music and whatnot. So
yeah, it's an interesting trend that I noticed even when I was in my early 20s, even that I was not considered an adult yet. It's like, oh, you're a little kid. I'm like, no, I pay my own rent. I take care of all my own bills. And then there's the other opposite trend in the United States where often once you hit over 50, oh, you're ancient. And it's kind of sad, both trends, because both sides, whether you're on the other side of 50 or the front side of 20, that both groups have a lot to offer.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always thought that you shouldn't, I guess you could say, judge someone because of their age, because you never know what they're capable of doing. And I know there's so many amazing teens out there, or even younger people that have so many amazing capabilities. And I'm always blown away whenever I hear about, say, this 7-year-old piano prodigy or something like that. And anymore, their age really doesn't have a factor in anything anymore. So
that's right. I think we need to let age go. It's like, it doesn't matter what age you are. Seriously, let it go. It doesn't exist. You're just ageless.
Exactly. There you go.
So what have you seen in your life has been your greatest takeaway or lesson that you've learned from through all of your trials, tribulations, and your growing? What would you say that is?
Oh, goodness. Probably say to continuously believe in myself, no matter what happens. And, the music industry is definitely kind of a whirlwind. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen day after day. And, and just always believing in myself and knowing that I'm capable of doing these amazing things I think is what kept me going, excuse me. And, so I definitely think that's helped me with a lot with my self-esteem and with my self-confidence and, just things like that. So definitely just having and believing myself, I think, is definitely something I've learned a lot from this.
Well, what would you say to anyone listening in out there? Because most of our audience are from the 35 to 50-year-old status, but guess what? They have teenagers as well and early 20-year-old daughters. What would you say to them just getting started if they, are not really confident in themselves and they're getting started in the workforce or wanting to do their own dream? What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, things are scary. This world is a scary place anymore, but you just got to go out there and you got to go for it. And you can't be afraid of anything. And you just got to step up and do it. And, if I would have, I like to say, if I would have stopped doing this career the first day that it got hard, I never would have made it past the first day, because things get so hard, but you just got to push through them, and you got to ask questions, and you got to ask for help. And I knew a lot before I got into this. I hated asking for help. I always want to do things on my own, but there gets to a point you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I've got to have help. And so don't be scared to ask for help, and don't be scared to ask questions, and just believe in yourself, like I said. And if you believe that you can do things really well and you can do great things, and you'll be able to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, asking for help is huge, and also realizing that it's going to take time. I think a myth that I've noticed happen all around, especially on this business show often, is that people will think that some of the hugest businesses or the most successful people out there kind of got there on day one, because we see the end result. We see them as a star. We see them as their pinnacle of success. But you don't realize that it took years for them to practice and get to that point. It wasn't like, poof, you woke up, got out of the baby carriage, and bam, you were a star.
Oh, yeah. And it's exactly what you said. The people, especially with my music, people don't get to see a lot of the background and what I have to do in order to keep this music going. And, there's studio time, and there's communication with people, and then there's making appearances and performing, and there's so much stuff you have to do. And that's how it is with every career and every field. There's just a lot of back work you got to do to get to where you want to be. So
exactly, back work, like this interview, for instance.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, it is part of the day of what you have to do when you're in your line of work. And there will be times where there's bits and pieces of whatever work you're doing, whatever field, that's not the most fun. But put it all together, if you're doing what you love, it should even itself out, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, who have been some of your greatest role models that have inspired you in your life?
Oh, goodness. As far as non-music role models, I would have to go with my great-grandmother, my mamaw. She's kind of always believed in me and known that I've been able to do amazing things. And she's just an amazing person herself. And as far as my character, I definitely try to, be her and my character, I guess you could say. I try to be who she is and, try to, treat people as I would want to be treated and, just things that she's kind of taught me. But as far as music role models, I've had so many throughout this industry. I think as far as like my classic country role models, I have to go with artists like Patsy Cline and Tim Wynette and Loretta Lynn, just because they're the females of country music that you think of, the queens of country music, and they've had such a huge influence on the industry. And their voices are so unique and so amazing. Their music they released was unbelievable. And but today, I'd probably say my biggest influence in modern country today would be Miranda Lambert. I think she's also a phenomenal artist, and she knows what she wants, and she doesn't let people run her over or tell her what to do. And she's always releasing great music, and she's a great entertainer. And so I definitely think she's probably a big influence too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I grew up in Virginia, and we listen to a lot of country in Virginia. And I've noticed a trend. It's really, really changed. It is like modern country. It's not like Patsy Cline or Dolly Parton anymore. It is definitely a different type of country.
It definitely is. And I was actually on my way to school yesterday. I was listening to the radio, and the DJ on the radio was saying how he thinks bro country, if you're familiar with that, is kind of leaving. Well, bro country, because there for a while, country music was all about the tight painted on jeans and being in the tailgate of a truck and all that stuff that you tend to think about. And the DJ was saying how he thinks that it's kind of going away and some good classic music's coming back. So I'm kind of excited if that's the direction that country music's coming. So I think it's great if it goes kind of back to its original roots of the good classic country music. So
yeah, because I think what I've noticed is kind of a pop kind of modern rock mixed in with country, a lot of the modern country. Am I right? Or?
Yeah, no, I definitely think you're right. I think country almost has several different genres within itself because you have the country rock, you have the country pop, and then you kind of have some of like the older country and all that. So, but yeah.
Well, you had mentioned Patsy Cline. Is she one of your absolute favorite old-time country, or do you have a specific?
Oh, no, yeah. She's definitely my all-time favorite, like, classic country artist. And I got a record player for Christmas because I want to listen to the country records, the good classic country records. And I was listening to the other day, and one of Patsy's songs came on. It was, like, a variety record, and her song came on. And I just, like, stopped doing what I was doing and just sat there and listened. I was like, this is beautiful. And so, I love being able to do that. So
I'm assuming you've gotten to visit Nashville, Tennessee, right?
I have, and I'm actually going this weekend. I leave Thursday to go to Nashville. I'll be down there for the weekend for an award show down there. So.
Whoa, neato. I got to go there as a kid. My orchestra, which is a classical orchestra at the time, got to go down there and perform. But beforehand, we got to go to the Grand Old Opry.
The Ryman?
To check it out. Yeah, the Ryman. And at that time, they let us go into a studio and mess with some instruments. It was like we were having loads of fun. It was a great tour.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I've been to the Ryman myself, and I love the Ryman. I think it is wonderful and all the history it has in there. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, have fun on your trip.
Definitely. Every time I get to go to Nashville, I love it. And so, I always get excited when I get to go because I just feel like it's where I belong. So,
yeah.
Someday, hopefully, I'll be able to actually stay there. But for right now, I just could be a visitor.
So now you've accomplished so much. I mean, in just a short amount of time, what has been, as you had to call it, like your pinnacle of success so far, what would you say is your greatest achievement up to now?
Oh, goodness. I I would say probably either any of my singles hitting number one on any of the different charts. I know Cowgirls hit number one on the independent country music internet charts, and that was super exciting. And Cowgirls, or Not Pretty Enough, also hit a number one as well. And so, for them songs we played that much, for people to like them, for them to do good on a chart, especially being an independent artist, it was really exciting. And actually, I'd probably say this past year has probably been an exciting one as well, because the Cowgirls was also nominated for a Song of the Year with the Midwest Music Awards, and that was the first time a country song had ever been nominated with a Song of the Year category. So that was really exciting as well. So just things like that, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your big vision? Do you have a grand vision for the next couple years for your business and your life?
Ideally, if it can go as I want it to, I would be touring as much as I can and being in front of as many people as I can, because performing is my favorite part about this career. So if I can just tour and, play out with the band and play all my music, just have people there, it'd be really exciting. And an international tour would be even cool. So there's not a whole lot you can plan. You just got to keep going with things, and hopefully it'll work out in your favor. So I'm crossing my fingers, and we'll see how things go.
Do you have a band now you work with exclusively, or do you just find people as you go along to work with and do your songs with?
Yeah, no, I have a band now, and we play mainly here around the Kansas City, Missouri area, because that's where I'm based from. Mm-hmm. And but we've been able to kind of branch out, and I've been to all the surrounding states of Missouri, as well as of course, Nashville, like I said, and then Texas and Vegas. I've performed out in Vegas before, too. So I'm starting to branch out. I'm getting there.
Next stop, New York City.
Next on the list.
So how can the folks out there find out more about you, listen to some of your songs?
Yeah, if you want to find out more about me, just go to my website, joseymilnermusic.com, JOSEYMILNER music.com. And that's my website. So you can listen to music, you can see photos, you can read a bio, you can get a hold of me, and all that fun stuff. Actually it's been newly revamped. I went in and kind of recreated it. So it's kind of new. And you can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that fun stuff, as well as iTunes. You can find music on iTunes as well.
Great. And I know because you are sponsoring and helping out Angels and Doves, how can people help out with anti-bullying and stuff like that?
Yeah, if you ever want to, kind of help out with something like that, like you said, you can go to angelsanddoves.com. Super easy, and that's the organization I'm a spokesperson for. And while you're at it, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there too. I'm also a Shriners patient ambassador. I'm a Shriners kid myself. I had surgery on my back whenever I was 13. Whoop. And the Shriners are a big part of my life as well. So you can go check them out, and you can make a donation to either of the organizations. They're both extremely amazing organizations. So anything helps, and just kind of step up and help out and kind of make the world a better place.
Absolutely. So. Now tell us about the Shriner. What do they do exactly? How do they help?
Yeah, it's essentially kind of like, I guess you compare it to Children's Mercy, where they go out and they try to raise funds for families that can't necessarily afford medical attention, or kind of help out with their medical bills and whatnot. And they have amazing staff and surgeons and whatnot. And I know myself, I had over a $200,000 surgery, and the Shriners paid for all of it. So my family is very fortunate for them and what they're able to do for me. So I try and help them out as much as I can as well. So
yeah, with the incredible cost and how it goes up with healthcare, people need some help. If you have a big surgery or a huge illness that comes about, yeah, definitely. So that's great to hear that exists. And I thank you so much for coming out and sharing your wisdom and your gifts and telling all our audience about what you're working on right now.
Definitely, and thank you so much for having me on. It was so much fun.
It was. Before we head on out, are there any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners?
I just want to say thank you, to you and to anyone that's out there that's helped me with my career and supported me in any kind of way. I really appreciate it. If I didn't have the support that I had, there's no way my music would be doing as good as it is. So just a huge, huge, huge thank you. And thank you to my management, to my family and all my friends, and, all that fun stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Girl, we can all not reach our goals. Sometimes have this myth that bootstrapping myth that you can get to your goals and succeed all by yourself. Absolutely not. We need a community.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's been awesome talking to you today, Josey. Thank you so much for coming to Savvy Central Radio.
Well, thank you so much.
A new mix to business networking and interviews. Join Savvy Central Radio for our third live interview/networking event, the focus being marketing in the 21st century. Our guest this June 17th will be Malco Ebers of NYBC. Get your tickets today at bit.ly.com/savvyradio.